Godmothered is this Disney Plus original movie, and it stars Jillian Bell and Isla Fisher. This movie is about a fairy or a tooth fairy, whatever she is, named Eleanor, played by Julian Bell, and she found this note that Mackenzie Walsh has written when she was like 10 or 15 years old, and then Eleanor gets transported to our world to find Mackenzie Walsh, but and Mackenzie Walsh. When she found Mackenzie Walsh, Mackenzie Walsh is basically an adult, and Eleanor has to help Mackenzie Walsh find her happily ever after, and now we got our movie. Um, I've been looking forward to seeing this movie. So the thing is, I'm a little bit late on this movie review for Godmothered. This movie came out on Disney Plus last Friday. I'm a little bit late is because so the reason why I'm a little bit late on this review is because re I had to I had to finish the movie last night. Then I had to restart the movie and then rewatch the whole movie, and that was it. So I rewatched the whole movie, and how was it? To my opinion, I liked it. I enjoyed this movie. So what I enjoy about this movie is Jillian Bell and Isla Fisher. So let's start off with Jillian Bell. Jillian Bell gives a great performance. She was funny. She was charming. Her character is not annoying. I mean, yeah, she was not. Her character was not annoying. You don't see her just like be all. You don't see her just act annoying like a kid or anything. She was funny and charming and sweet and very silly. And when and Isla Fisher's character is also great in this movie. That's why it's also good. It's also great as Mackenzie Walsh in this movie. This movie's not based off anything at all. So Isla Fisher, like I said, she's actually great in the movie as well. And what I enjoy about this movie, everybody else in this movie is also great in this movie, and I really love that. I really love the chemistry between Isla Fisher and Julian Bell. They were both excellent. They give excellent chemistry together. So what I enjoy about this movie that Eleanor is trying to help. Like Eleanor lives in like in some kind of fairy world or something, and then she gets transported to our world to find Mackenzie Walsh and show her this note that she wrote when she was a kid or something, and Mackenzie Walsh looking at it like I haven't looked at this note for a long time and just ignoring, just like and just like, be like, I'm too old for this note. I'm an adult. I moved on. I got a job. That yada yada yada. That was it. So that's all. So this you know what this movie reminds me of? This movie reminds me of both Elf and no, this movie reminds me of Elf and Enchanted all into one. So what I enjoy about those movies, this is a fish out of water movie, just like Elf and Enchanted. So let's say Elf. So that movie has Will Ferrell playing who played our main character Buddy, who ended up in the North Pole all these years since he was in the North Pole all these years since he was a baby, but he was in the human world first as a baby. Then he gets transported to the North. Or gets transported to the North Pole, and then now when Buddy becomes Will Ferrell as an adult, but Will Ferrell had but Elf with the movie Elf, Buddy has discovered that he's a human, but he thinks he's an elf. But he gets transported to New York City. He gets transported to New York City to the real world to discover about what's it like being in the real world, being in New York City Times Square. And with if you all remember the Disney movie Enchanted, um, and with Disney's Enchanted, we have Giselle played by Amy Adams, who lives in an animated world, probably like in the modern times or the castle Dark Ages time or whatever. So we have Disney's Enchanted that kind of reminds me of Beauty and the Beast and Sleeping Beauty. So with Giselle played by Amy Adams in that movie in the animated world, she gets transported to our world in New York City Times Square, and then she doesn't know nothing about the real world yet, but she's still trying to know everything about the human world and what's it like being in the real world. And with this movie, it's the same thing. With this movie, Eleanor came from some kind of fairy world that kind of reminds me of that's sort of like a world that's sort of like Harry Potter it's sort of like you're watching Harry Potter or the Spiderwick Chronicles, something like that, and or Game of Thrones or something like that, but different. Or let's say The Hobbit. Um, she lives in a like a fairy world that's sort of like you're watching The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter all into one, and when she gets transported to, but she's that's just well well, I was gonna say, but the world that she that where the world that Eleanor actually lived in is not animated. It's actually CG real life. It's actually a um real life world, and then she gets transported to our world to discover about the human world, and also trying to um help Mackenzie Walsh trying to find her happily ever after, and that's a Fish Out of Water. Now, those are Fish Out of Water movies that I liked the most. Those movies I liked, Enchanted, no, like Elf, Enchanted, and Godmother. Those are Fish Out of Water movies. With this movie, so what else I enjoy about this movie? No, what I was gonna say. So let's get a little bit into the negatives. So the one thing I did not like about this movie, I think the movie kind of copied a little bit off in Enchanted without Eleanor being in the animated world, because that's different. So this movie is a little bit farther away from Enchanted. This movie, the movie does a really good, the movie does a really good job not copying or paste off of Elf, Enchanted. It kind of took a little bit of stuff from Enchanted, but the movie does take place in. I think the movie does take place in Boston, but in this movie, it does take place in Boston. So with Elf, it took place in New York City Times Square. It took place in New York City Times Square, I believe. Yeah, mostly. And with with Disney's Enchanted, that Giselle end up in our world, played by Amy Adams. She gets transported to New York City Times Square in that movie, and with this movie takes place in Boston, the whole movie. So that's why I really love watching these kind of movies. So what else I enjoy about the so the only and what else I think that's nothing much actually. So, what else I enjoy about this movie is the see the world that Eleanor, played by Jillian Bell, where she actually lived in, is really great. The set designs, the CGI is great. The magic in this movie is absolutely terrific, and also it is a holiday movie that kids can actually enjoy. This movie is for kids. Like if you watch Elf, I think Elf is more of a kids and a family oriented movie, and with Enchanted, it's probably the same thing. Elf, and like Enchanted is a movie for kids. Um, with this movie's for kids, but it's also a family kids friendly movie. It's very friendly. It's very charming because these movies are very charming and friendly. So I really like the aspect of Eleanor trying to learn about the human world, trying to learn all these things that she'd never known before. But she's also basically a human as well. But so we have Buddy from Elf, who is basically an elf, but well, he's not really an elf. He's basically a human who dresses up like an elf. And we have Giselle, who's basically another human from another world in the animated world. And she gets transported to our world, and she's still a human being. And with Eleanor in this movie, it's the same thing. So I think they did a really good job of with Eleanor, and with Eleanor played by Julian Bell is great. And also, she's also trying to discover about what's it like being in the human world, what's it like being in the real world that she has never been in before, and all these things that she and all these things that because there's a lot of magic in this movie. There's some great there's a great message also in this movie that you can actually understand about this film. So I think what I enjoy about this movie is the director did a really good job, and I love the cinematography and the shots of Boston, and I really like how they doesn't make it blurry. They just make it like you can actually see it without without being like I can't really see nothing. But I really love the cinematography of this movie. That's why watching this movie, that's why I really enjoyed this movie. I think Julian Bell and Isla Fisher are both great in the movie, and I'm surprised I had to finish and rewatch this whole movie last night, and I think I really like this movie. But my only issues with it, I know it kind of copied a little bit. I think this movie a little bit rip off of Enchanted, but I really didn't want this movie to rip off of Enchanted at all. But it didn't really rip off of Enchanted, but it did a little bit, but not even close. But I think that's all I gotta say for this movie review for um, the Disney Plus movie and Godmother. So I know Eleanor is recently trying to help Mackenzie Walsh because Mackenzie Walsh is basically is just like grumpy sometimes in this movie. And I think Isla Fisher is great as well. And I gotta say, this is by far one of my favorite Disney Plus original movies. If you have Disney Plus, you'll probably enjoy the heck out of this movie. Enjoy it. So I think that's all I gotta say for this movie review for the Disney Plus movie Godmothered. If you have Disney Plus, you can go ahead and watch it. You'll probably enjoy it. Your whole family and all the kids might enjoy this movie and have fun with it. And that's all I gotta say for this movie review. We have another Disney Plus original movie coming out Friday. We have a new Disney Plus original movie coming out tomorrow. But I'll review it this weekend, and I think that's all I gotta say for this movie review for Godmothered. So be sure to like, subscribe, press notification button, follow me on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll see y'all on my next video. And thank you for watching.